Greetings to everyone. It's finally time for the grand finals of the 4th NUJS MC. Dear esteemed assessors, it is a great privilege for me to welcome you to the grand finals of the 4th NUJS Mediation competition on behalf of my extremely hardworking and diligent organizing committee. We thank you all for greetings to everyone.
You're on mute, Mitch.
Apologies, there was some technical issues, which I got disconnected. Thank you. We thank you all for agreeing to judge the grand finals. To all those watching our live stream, our panel for the grand final consists of, firstly, Ms. Chitra Narayanan. Mr. Narayanan is a lawyer in independent private practice and a mediator. She has over 20 years of experience in corporate commercial law. There was some technical issue. Both in transaction advisory and dispute resolution. She's also a trained and certified mediator and has mediated commercial, corporate, and family, including matrimonial disputes, for over 16 years. She's an accredited mediator and founding trustee of Foundation for Comprehensive Dispute Resolution, the FCDR, Chennai. That is an initiative to promote and privatize mediation and to mainstream alternatives to litigation. We welcome you, ma'am. We have Ms. Deborah Lockhart with us today. She is a founding member of the Council for Australian Dispute Resolution and editorial panel member for the LexisNexis ADR Bulletin. Ma'am is a nationally accredited mediator. She gained accreditation as an advanced mediator with the Australian Dispute Centre in 2009 and as a conflict coach in 2010. Ma'am was appointed CEO of the Australian Dispute Centre in 2013. ADC is an independent not-for-profit that works to advance world-class conflict management and dispute resolution in Australia and internationally. Ma'am leads the Australian Dispute Centre's training faculty and speaks regularly on the financial, reputational, and personal benefits of private dispute resolution process. We welcome you, ma'am. We have with us here today, Mr. Tejas Karya. Mr. Tejas Karya is the partner of the dispute resolution practice at Shardul Limited Mangal Das, and he also heads the firm's arbitration practice. Sir's expertise spans across international and domestic commercial arbitrations, corporate and security litigations, general corporate advisory, and diverse aspects under the information technology law, including data privacy and confidentiality. Sir has extensive experience handling a broad range of complex, high-value international and domestic commercial disputes, and he frequently advises clients across diverse industry sectors. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have with us Mr. Nakul Sachdeva. Mr. Sachdeva is a partner at LN Partners based in New Delhi with considerable years of experience Sir is an experienced dispute resolution advocate with a demonstrated history of working in the law practice industry. He is skilled in legal advice, corporate law, commercial litigation, civil litigation, and legal research. And he's been doing great things with his work as a role as a partner with LNL. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have with us Justice Kurian Joseph. Justice Kurian Joseph was elevated to the Supreme Court of India on March 8, 2013. Sir served as an active Chief Justice of the High Court of Kerala twice and was subsequently appointed as the Chief Justice of the High Court of Himachal Pradesh from 2010 to 2013. He has adjudicated prominent cases like Shaira Bano, was Union of India, and also the Parliament attack case. Sir now works as an experienced mediator, furthering the way of alternative dispute resolution for the betterment of the world today. We welcome you, sir. With that, we come to a close of the introduction of our esteemed assessors for the grand finals. And now I wish best of luck to the participants, and I would like to ask the room supervisor to take it over from here. May the best team win. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Moshmi, and I'll be your room supervisor for today. With me is the timekeeper, Shomali. We would be giving timestamps, since this is a 90-minute round, we'll be giving timestamps at the 75th minute, the 60th minute, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, post which you're requested to cease the mediation process. In the case that one of the parties loses internet connection, we would wait for a total of 10 minutes, post which if the party does not return, the other party will have to assume the role. Means, if in the case of a negotiator, if the client loses connection and does not join within the next 10 minutes, the counsel would have to fulfill the roles of both the client and the counsel. I think I have laid all the rules. If the judges assent to it, we can start off with the round. All the best.
With the permission of the judges, can we start the round now?
Yeah, please start.
Thank you, ma'am. And for the timekeeper, would it be all right if I give you a little countdown?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You give us the countdown. We start.
Sure, thank you. So I'll start in 3, 2, and 1. A very good evening to everyone. And for that matter, good afternoon or good morning, depending on the time zone that you're in. I hope everyone is healthy and doing well. My name is James Bond, and I have with me my friend, my co-mediator, Harvey Spector, and he will be mediating the session today. Thank you for choosing us as your mediators. Now, parties, I can see that you have joined this virtual meeting from all parts of the world. And because of that, I want to assure you first that because of the accent, because of the language, because of any other specific information or problem, if you feel any lack of clarity throughout the session, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to accommodate any requests of such nature. And also a suggestion from my side would be, since this session is going to be of 90 minutes, it would be better if you would keep a little glass of water with you. That would really help. Then, of course, moving on, parties, at the very beginning, I should take this moment to thank you for actually taking out the time and committing to this session. That too on a Sunday. I know this might not have been the most suitable day, but this in itself actually shows me the willingness of the parties to come up here and solve the dispute amicably. And it sets a very positive tone at the very beginning. And I hope we can take this momentum forward. With that, parties, I think just for the sake of clarity and to know who is who, maybe we can go around the room and have a little round of introduction. That would simply include the names, the capacity that you're in, and an additional question for the clients, whether do they have the requisite authority to settle the dispute at hand. And either party can begin for the introduction, please.
Greetings, everyone. I am Raghu Shastri. I will be representing my company, Fintercom, here today. And I would like to confirm that I do have the authority to make a decision here today. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Raghu. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ananya Agarwal. I'm the counsel for Mr. Raghu, and you may refer to me as Miss Ananya.
Thank you, Ms. Ananya. And who do we have from the other party today?
Greetings, everyone. I am Ben Jensen. I am the CEO of Univind. I assure that I do have the authority to agree to any kind of settlement that we reach today, and you can refer to me as Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Sorry, may I go ahead?
Yes, please. Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nana Singh. You can refer to me as Nana, and I'm here to assist Ben as his counsel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Nana. And having done the introductions, first of all, parties, let me take you through some of the key features of this session, and that would help us actually take this, make this session more productive. Parties, the issue at hand, I can see it's important for both of you. So confidentiality naturally becomes something that is very important in this case. So at the very beginning, parties, let me assure you that every word that you will say in this session will remain inside the 4 virtual walls of this meeting, and everything will remain completely confidential. The moderator of this meeting is also making sure that this is not getting recorded. And during the session, you might, however, find the mediators taking some of the notes, but that is for our own clarity purposes. We will be surely destroying them at the end just to keep the confidentiality intact. I hope I'm making myself clear that this session is going to be completely confidential. Secondly, parties, also another thing about the session is that both the parties have consented to voluntarily come here on the table. So it's a voluntary process. The parties have come here voluntarily, and they can also leave the session voluntarily with the kind of solution that they like. And a third one additional feature would be that whatever you will say in this session is completely non-prejudicial. What I mean by that is that whatever you will say cannot be used in favor or in against of you in any court of law. So don't shy away from putting out more information on the table, because that will help the mediators as well as the other party to understand the concerns better, and maybe you can move forward to the solution better. Having said that, parties, I should also highlight at this moment our role as mediators here today in this session. Parties, please understand that we are not judges, we are not arbitrators, and we are only here merely in a capacity of facilitator. We will try our best to remain neutral throughout the session. We do not have any vested interest in the dispute at hand, and also the parties can confirm that we have never met them before this session. Thank you, parties. I can see the nodding heads. Apart from that, parties, both the mediators today will try our best to keep the session impartial, because we don't want to see one party winning and the other party losing. We only want you both to formulate a solution that would address the concerns of both of you in the best manner possible. I hope I'm making myself clear here, and if there's any question at this moment by either of the parties, I'm open to that. Okay, thank you. With that, I think now I can pass the floor to my co-mediator, Harvey, to explain the rest of the process of mediation to the parties. Harvey, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So as introduced earlier, I am Harvey Spector, but you can call me Harvey. So just before I start, perhaps I could get everyone to rename themselves as their names, so that this will help in easier reference and communications for the rest of the session. So while you all rename, I will be showcasing how the process of mediation really is done through a personal story of mine. So personally, I play the guitar in my free time. And I think that the process of mediation is very similar to that of playing the guitar. And let me explain why. So as you know, it takes 2 hands to play the guitar. And if one hand refuses to cooperate with the other, it takes the song that comes out is not that ideal. However, if there is a harmony between the 2 hands, the results or the song that comes out of it can be extraordinary. So today, Raghu and Ben, you are the 2 hands today, because you have the crucial role of working together to produce beautiful music. However, sometimes, no matter how well the hands play, some strings do go out of tune. And this is where us mediators will come in. James and I will be the guitar tuner for you two today to ensure that any music we make will sound wonderful. I hope that this analogy helps everyone better understand how mediation works and what us as mediators do. Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
All right, I can see that. So before I go into today's mediation process, am I right to say that Ms. Ananya and Ms. Mana have already briefed your clients on the mediation process?
Correct.
Yes, that's it.
Of course, since everyone has some idea about the process, I'll just run through the mediation process today for clarity's sake quickly. So this session will run for 90 minutes. And after our introduction, I will first get each party to share your story and your perspectives on why we are here today. We will then move into agenda setting, where after considering each party's interests, we will be generating some discussion points, which will guide our conversation into the next stage. So the joint session, which is next, very simply is a place where both of you can talk freely with one another and discuss ways to use this session to its fullest potential. Of course, James and I will be guiding you along the way. And if you feel like the discussion is stalling, or you would like to share some confidential information with us mediators, you can always call for a private session with us or a caucus. During these caucuses, us mediators will rely on our expertise in dispute resolution, and we will do our utmost best to help you. So please do not hesitate to ask for one. All caucuses are also strictly confidential and will stay as such unless you give us the explicit green light to let the other party know about the information you shared with us. And finally, I would like to emphasize that this entire process is flexible. So do not worry if you cannot remember any of the steps, since we mediators will be guiding you along the way. So I would like to set down some ground rules first before we begin on the mediation session proper, since we are on Zoom, and from prior experiences, things get messy on Zoom sometimes due to technical difficulties and whatnot. So firstly, only one person should be speaking at a time. The other party who is not speaking, I kindly ask to remain muted. Secondly, since I understand that English might not be everyone's first language here, and there really is a melting pot of cultures in this room, we should be speaking at a slower pace to help each other out and ensure that nothing gets lost in translation. And thirdly, I would require both parties to really show mutual respect to one another throughout this session. This would involve doing small things like using respectful language and tone with one another, and refrain from interrupting the other party when they're speaking. After all, mediation is a collaborative process and we are all here to help each other out. I would now like to open the floor to any of the questions as to the rules, whether any of the parties would like to add on.
Mr. Avi, I just wanted to confirm, how long will the private caucuses run?
Okay, so just to confirm, there is no fixed limit for the private caucus. However, in the interest of fairness and to ensure that everyone is heard, both parties will get a caucus of the same length. So if you would like to seek further clarifications, perhaps we could do it later when we enter the caucus.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Hope that answers your question. And so back to the question. Is every party here agreeable with the ground rules, or is there anything you'd like to add? I see that James might want to add something on, so I'll pass the floor to him first.
Thank you, Avi. Actually, nothing about the ground rules. I think if the parties are agreeable to that, and since you were opening the floor to them, my only request to the parties were to be open and flexible, as my co-mediator has already said. That we are here to find an amicable solution, and you can't really shake hands with clenched fists, right? So in order to facilitate a solution-oriented approach, try being open and more inclined towards the major interests that you're having. And Javi, of course, you can take it from here and open the floor to the party. Thank you.
All right, thanks, James. I think that really is an important part of the mediation process. So I hope that everyone will be agreeable with these rules and we can keep this in mind as the session progresses. So now we shall move on and begin the mediation session proper with the opening statements. It is customary for the requesting party to start with their opening statements. So is it okay for the requesting party's representatives to start the ball rolling?
Yes, for sure. First of all, I'd like to present my greetings again to all of you present here. And thank you so much, Mr. James and Harvey, for so succinctly explaining the process of mediation. And for that beautiful analogy where we both of us have to create music together. I think all of these analogies and your understanding, your explanation has helped us a lot to understand this process a lot better. And we hope that today we reach some sort of settlement or a common ground. Thank you so much, Raghu, and thank you so much, Ananya, for being here today. We really appreciate you coming here with a flexible and open mind to discuss the disputes that are happening between the two of us today. I know it's a very commercial matter, but since we're here in a collaborative approach and with a flexible and open mind, I'd like to begin by talking a bit about my own self and where I come from. So everybody knows that I am the CEO of Univind, which is a leader in alternate energy sector in Europe. And we've been trying to work as progressively as in Europe as in South Asia as well. However, as I've come to know about Mr. Raghu, he's been very passionate about engineering and he's pursued his degree from the very prestigious Indian Institute of Technology from India, and he went outside even to the USA to study. Similar is where I place myself. I've been equally passionate about serving people. And when we talk about the 21st century where we're actually living right now, we see that we're in dire need of non-conventional modes of energy and not just the conventional modes of energy, which is why both our companies have such important places in the business community today, and which is what we recognize. Univind has been working dedicatedly and committedly since so many years. And our research and development team has put in all their hard work. And Mr. Raghu himself is an engineer. He might understand this very fact that when you bring up a new technology, how much hard work, how much expertise, and how long the period of time it is to bring up something new that is beneficial for the society as a whole, and even to bring something that is innovative and ingenious. To base my understanding from there on, when we came to know that there has been an infringement of the basic patent technology that we had, which was the vertical axis wind turbine, we were really disheartened. Not just disheartened, I understand this fact that these commercial infringements do happen, but from a person like Raghu, who has been so passionate about this sector and who's been individually trying to help the people, the farmers into agriculture and even helping them in the households, it was a little disheartening to know that, because I've come to know a lot of things about Mr. Raghu. A lot of hard work and time has gone into the research and development team of our company in order to come up with the vertical axis wind turbine. And Mr. Raghu himself understands how different it is from the conventional 3-blade wind turbine. I'm not going to stress on the facts and the technical know-how because all of this is put on record. But I'd really like to hear from Mr. Raghu as to how did it come from? Because we feel that there has been an infringement on part of Windacon, and we'd really like to listen as to where does he come from and what does he has to say about the infringement. And I think Nena has been working with our company since a very, very long time, and she's been associated with us, not just in the capacity of the council, but with me personally as well. So she'll handle all the technical matters. Over to you, Nena.
Thank you, Ben. First of all, I would like to thank the mediators, James and Harvey, so beautifully explaining the process of mediation to us. I'm sure that those who are new to the process feel a lot more reassured now. Secondly, I would also like to thank Raghu and Ananya for coming here today. Ben and I are really glad to be at this mediation session, and I hope that with the help of the mediators, we're able to reach an amicable solution and resolve the differences that have unfortunately arisen between these two parties. I've worked with Ben himself as well as Univind for a lot of years now. For that reason, I feel like I would be in a great position to help him in an advisory capacity and provide a helping hand should he need it. The real work, of course, has to be done by Ben and you, Raghu. I would also, of course, check the legal correctness and soundness of any agreements that he may enter into. Further, to facilitate this process and provide our discussion a framework, I would be laying down an agenda for this session. I think Ben has been very clear in his opening statement that the primary thing that we would like to discuss in this session today is the infringement of our basic technology. With this, I hope that we're able to reach an agreement that caters to the needs and interests of both the parties, and we look forward from hearing from you. Thank you.
So thank you to Ben and Naina for providing us with your side of the story and your perspectives on where we stand and why we are here today. So I'll just do a quick summary of everything that you've brought us through today, and then we will move on to Raghu and Ananya's opening statements. So firstly, Ben, you are the CEO of Uniwind. And as an engineer, you do recognize Raghu is passionate about engineering. And you yourself are also passionate in serving the people. And you recognize that there is a need for non-conventional energy methods since energy nowadays is a bit disruptive. So you understand and you mentioned that new technology requires a lot of hard work, a lot of expertise to come up with, and that this infringement of the basic pattern was a bit disheartening, as you mentioned earlier. You were very passionate, you were trying to help, and that this issue caused some disruption in the day-to-day lives of the company. So what you would wish to discuss today is some clarification on the Raghu's side about the use of the technology and how it came about. Would that summary be accurate and concise for both parties?
That's correct, Javi.
All right, so since I've heard from Ben and Aina, now I will open the floor to Raghu and Ananya to provide us with your side of the story.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Javi. Greetings, everyone, again. I would just like to, first of all, say that I'm very grateful to Javi and James for conducting this mediation session. In your opening statements, even though my counsel Ananya had briefed me about this process before, your opening statements were a good refresher just as we entered into it. And so I'm grateful for that. I think James mentioned that we are all here on a Sunday, and that shows our dedication to this process. And I would like to thank him too, because it's a Sunday for him too. So I thank everyone here for that. I would also like to say that I'm grateful to Mr. Ben and Ms. Nena for being here today. I think this is the best way to find a solution for this challenge that we are facing. I would only like to ask them first if they're okay with me referring to them by their first name.
Absolutely, you may go forth.
Thank you. I am grateful to Ben for this. Being an industry leader, Uniwind is extremely famous. And so I have heard of Ben, and I'm very grateful to him for personally being here, as I am for Nana. I think James mentioned something that my counsel Ananya had actually told me a little while ago, that this anecdote that you can't shake hands with a clenched fist. And so I think that's very beneficial, because I actually have a sprained left hand. And so I can't actually clench it into a fist. I can only shake hands here today. And so I hope that is something we can do. Coming to why we are here from our perspective, there is a quote that I have always personally liked that I would like to share here today. It's by Dean Kamen, an American engineer. It says that every once in a while, a new technology, an old idea, an old problem, and a big idea. So a new technology, an old problem, and a big idea can turn into an innovation. For us, this is what has happened. I studied in very prestigious institutions. I worked very hard, and I don't take credit for that. That was due to a whole lot of people who were able to help me and who were able to assist me. But that is something that is referred to in the West, I believe, as the American dream of making it successful. I like to refer to it as the human dream, because I think it's universal. That is what has happened here. When I came back to India, when I started working here on the ground, I was following my dream, I was following my career. I realized that there were a lot of people who just did not have the opportunity to do that. There were people who were struggling to get their basic rights, people who were feeding the nation, but themselves going to bed hungry. And that is why I was so convinced to work for them. It's been great to hear that Ben personally feels for them as well. I welcome that. And I would just like to say that I think that is a first common ground. We both want to work for the people, as you said. And so while working for the people, we created an R&D division at our company, Windicon, that was specially focused on projects that would help the farmers produce clean electricity at a smaller scale. This is what we were focusing on. Now, when we are close to doing that, when we are almost at the finishing line of achieving that, it's an achievement we are extremely proud of. I am so proud of my team for having reached this stage. We went to file a patent and we heard that there was a challenge from Uniwind on this patent. That was concerning, but that was also a challenge that we are willing to work on. We think there might have been a few misunderstandings that we can clear out. There may be some challenges where we can understand each other's perspectives better. And that is why we are here today, to understand you, to clarify, and to work on moving forward with a great relationship. We are two partners in an industry that has the potential to change the world. And so the thing that I would personally like to come out of this is that we go forward with a good relationship, with a view to change the world for the better. With that, I would pass the baton on to my counsel, Ananya.
Good evening to everyone present here today. Firstly, at the outset, I'd like to thank James and Harvey for their detailed and straightforward explanation of the mediation process. I'm sure it has helped both parties get more comfortable with today's meeting. Our learned mediators have highlighted the core values of a mediation process, especially the fact that it is voluntary in nature. I believe that both parties have embraced this spirit of mediation by being present here today, even if the ongoing pandemic necessitates this meeting to be conducted virtually. And for that, I congratulate them. We're here with a spirit of compromise, and we hope that we can reach an amicable solution. To introduce myself once again, I'm Ananya Agarwal. I'm the counsel for Mr. Raghu. You can refer to me by my first name, Ananya. Having previously handled issues relating to intellectual property concerns, I have been approached by my client to assist him in an advisory capacity today. My role today is to simply guide my client towards his goals. Although I do understand that mediation as a process does not delve deep into the technicalities of law, I might be obligated to refer to certain principles of law simply to ensure that the direction of today's mediation is towards a legally sound solution. In this light, I would like to confirm that I have the authority to legally represent my client today. However, the final decision shall rest with Mr. Raghu, given that mediation is a client-centric process. I believe we'll be dealing with a lot of fine details eventually, but for the sake of convenience and for the benefit of the learned mediators, allow me to canvass a little bit more on my client's position. My client, as the founder of Windicom, has since the inception of the company aimed to alleviate the trouble of the farmers. With this mindset, my client sought to create smaller wind turbines, which would neither require too much capital nor the huge space needed by conventional turbines. During the research and development of the company, my client created a vertical axis wind turbine and tried to make it smaller with every prototype, such that it could even fit on rooftops of houses and run on a mild breeze, thus creating a clean and cheap source of energy. However, my client was taken aback when he received a patent infringement notice from the industry expert and the multinational company Uniwind. With the way the events have transpired from my client's perspective, my client has two major issues. In view of the same, we would like to propose the following agenda. Number one, we would like to discuss the alleged patent infringement. Secondly, we would like to discuss collaborative ways to define a future relationship. On behalf of my client, I would like to assure you that we will be most flexible and take into consideration your limitations, just as we know you will do the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ananya. Thank you, Mr. Raghu, for actually laying out your interests in such a concise manner in the end. And also, I could see that the emphasis was on being open and good faith and changing the world, as Mr. Raghu said it. So I think that, of course, the agenda setting would be a little later, but the major interest that you only had were regarding the patent, the challenge to the patent that you have received. There's an issue regarding that. And the second one, of course, would be to, of course, have a future relationship, a sort of clearing out whatever the misunderstandings may be. And so if I have understood that correctly, and if I can simply club that with whatever the other party and Harvey summarized it previously, I can feel that we have a common basis of the agenda. The first one, and this is a suggestion, of course, is subject to the approval by the parties and then my co-mediator, of course. But the first point, if at all everyone agrees, can be the, I wouldn't want to call it infringement. I would simply like to call it an issue regarding the intellectual property at hand right now. If maybe we can work with that. And second of all would be, of course, to resolve whatever the intricacies of that disputes regarding that, and a future relationship, a collaborative approach, a thing to basically, I hope I made myself clear with those 2 points. And now at this moment, I invite suggestions from either of the parties or Harvey, of course, if you can maybe change things in this.
All right. So thanks, James, for coming up with the agenda. So earlier I note that Ben and Naina, you suggested an agenda point that includes the technology part. However, we did not really hear about your thoughts on a future relationship like Raghu and Ananya has brought up. So could I check to see if this is something that you are okay with on the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Harvey, for that question. I think I was about to come to that only. We understand that both Ms. Ananya and Raghu have come with an open and flexible approach, and we're equally appreciative of the fact that they want to collaborate with us and create positive future relations, which would be a point of effort from our side as well. So there is no issue from our side in putting that as the second agenda. However, we'd just like to reiterate that the pertinent point at this point of time is to first discuss the infringement that has happened with regard to the basic technology of vertical axis wind turbines. So when we hear a bit from Raghu about the same, what has he to say about the infringement and how has it happened, then I think if we reach a settlement or a common ground, we can move forward the collaborative approach and a future possible positive relation. So though we're equally open to the same.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry,
no.
I'll just add in something first.
Yes.
So I note that Ben and Naina, you actually want to talk about the infringement of the basic technology. And for the side of Raghu and Ananya, you also wish to discuss the patent infringement that is alleged. So perhaps we could put this as sub-points under the first agenda point, which is the intellectual property one. So during the session, we could discuss this. And like we mentioned earlier, the agenda is not fixed. It is a fluid process. And clients and counsels are free and able to discuss anything that they want to. We'll just be here to guide you. So if both parties are agreeable on this agenda, I'll put it into the chat box.
We agree to the same.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll put it in.
Thank you so much, Harvey, for helping me out and also putting that in the chat box for everyone's reference. And now I think starting with the first point that was the intellectual property, subheads, of course, would follow, but maybe we can let the parties deliberate upon the first point of agenda. Over to you, parties.
Okay, so if I may start, we believe that there have been points raised about the alleged infringement of intellectual property and patent. We believe that our product is unique, that it is backed by new research that has been taken by the R&D team at Windacom, and it has some unique aspects of it that make it different from the patents that are held by Uniwind. I think a good way to explain that would be to say that, let's take the example of the wheel, for example. Someone millenniums ago developed a wheel. There was once a time when someone thought of a wheel. Today, there are wheels, there are tires that go at 200 miles an hour for tens of laps in Formula One. Now, if we had never allowed anyone other than the person who first thought of the wheel to make any innovation on it, to take it forward, nothing would be possible in transportation today. Similarly, we believe that we have made new changes, we have made new innovations on existing technology, we have taken it forward. And if a big company like Univind was allowed to not allow smaller companies to innovate, to take the technology forward, that would be counterproductive to the world. We believe that we want, as a smaller company, we want to work with Univind to take the innovation forward and to use their expertise, to use the resources and the expertise and all of those good things that they have, and work with them to take that forward rather than hinder innovation. And so our perspective is that we have made good innovations. We have changes in the product that make it so that it does not infringe on their product. And on the more technical side, I think my counsel Ananya can frame it better, I think.
Sure, thank you. To clarify my client's interest, I'd like to reiterate that my client believes that there has been no infringement since the product developed by Windicon is unique in nature. However, to understand your interests better and to understand your positions better, Ben and Nena, I'd like to frame a question to you simply to understand your interests, which is that what were the factors that led to you assuming a similarity between our product and your product?
Well, okay. I seem Mr. Harvey seems to speak something.
So sorry. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Before Ben and I respond to the question, I will have a quick clarification question for Raghu and Ananya. So thank you very much for sharing about the wheel earlier, but I have something to clarify because both Ananya and Raghu, you mentioned that the product is very unique. So could you maybe share more about the unique aspects of your product? As I feel that this more information on the table would help the discussion flow much smoother for both sides.
I believe that we'd like to answer that after we hear a little bit on what Ben and Nena think about why they have assumed infringement from their end.
All right, sure. So Ben and Nena, go on ahead, please. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Harvey. I think Nena was suggesting me that we had the same clarification to seek from Mr. Raghu and Ananya. So maybe they can answer this when I finish. The analogy that Mr. Raghu gave with regard to the wheel being developed years ago, and now it's revolutionizing the whole world, being used in Formula One. We all understand and accept that very fact, Mr. Raghu. However, we need to put this forth that we are in no capacity not allowing smaller companies to innovate. I mean, the position that we stand as a leader of alternate energy sector in Europe and in other places in South Asia as well is not because of the fact that we've been trying to suppress smaller companies from using these basic technologies. Instead, we've been always supporting these small companies. And today also we've come with a very open mind in order to collaborate with you. And as you stated further, that we would like to have positive relations when we move out of this mediation session as well. However, we need to understand that even when the wheel was developed, it was a basic technology. And we live in the 21st century where the rights that you have with regard to intellectual property rights are very pertinent. So it is not as simple as an issue that you take the basic technology and add something to it. I know your product is very unique because I myself been closely attached to the vertical axis wind turbines, and I understand what distinction exactly there is between your wind turbines and my wind turbines. But you also are an engineer, and I don't need to make you understand this very fact that when we get a patent, it is a right, it is a protective right against what you have developed and what you've designed. And the research and development team of Univind has taken years and years and a lot of expertise and a lot of funds has gone into this process of developing and designing and creating this basic technology. however basic might be, it is very essential for the wind turbine to actually work. So we understand that your product might be new by adding a lot of new innovations to the same. However, the basic presumption on which the wind turbine works, which is the vertical axis in comparison or in contrast to the horizontal, traditional 3-blade horizontal wind turbine, is actually the basic thing that works behind the whole same. I'm not going to complicate the things further. The basic point that I'm trying to raise here is, however basic the technology is, I think intellectual property rights are something that protects your rights because of the expertise, the funds, and the time that you put in. So Mr. Raghu will better understand that it is very important for us to not just see as a basic technology and adding on to something new and making it a new product and taking it a patent as you want it to take. However, we need to make a distinction between the two and analyze and bring it to the area of intellectual property rights. I know, Mr. James, I'm taking too long, but just to answer Ms. Ananya's,
not at all.
Just to answer Ms. Ananya's question with regards to the similarity, the basic, as I've already elaborated this further, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. The basic vertical axis wind turbine, which is placed at the base of the wind turbine, so that the blades of the wind turbine are light enough that even the slightest of the wind can help it move. The basic technology behind the same, which helps it run, is something that has been designed by Univind, and that is something we've been patented, and it is our right to protect the same. So I hope that this gives you a better understanding of what is the distinction between your wind turbine, vertical wind turbine, and the wind turbine that we have designed and patented for.
Mr. Raghu, before I let you respond, I know you have another clarification to answer as well. If I might add another question here, and actually this is open to both the parties. Whatever Mr. Ben has said, what I could gather was that there seems to be two parts to it. One is the outcome, the product, the final product that is there, which is a vertical axis turbine and how it works and how it produces. And the second part of it was the technology used to make that product. And if we can maybe shed some light and differentiate, Mr. Raghu also, because you said the previous analogy with regards to the tire and all. So is it the case that the product, and both the parties is open to both the parties, that the product might be the same one or the similar one used in the same scenario, but the technology behind it is something that is the core of the intellectual property, or is it the entire product? Mr. Raghu, of course, we would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay, so I believe there are a lot of questions, so I'll try to remember them, and I might need your help.
Of course, I'll have. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe the wheel example has been mentioned 3-4 times. I would just like to clarify that I am no legal expert. That is why my counsel Ananya is here with me, and she might be able to talk about the legal aspects better that Ben mentioned, and so I will leave that to her. On the question of that, I believe Harvey mentioned first about the technical innovations that have been made. I would like to say that we can't really tell or talk in detail about those details because, again, they are our research and we would not want them to be out in the open. That's confidential data. However, our clarification that we had initially sought from Ben was related to how, from the patents that we filed and the patents, the particular patent that they have challenged, what was in that particular patent that they had challenged is our question. Since the patent is in public domain, however, some of the innovations of the product itself, rather than the patent, are confidential because the product isn't out in the market yet. And so that is the clarification that I would give. And I think for the other part, my counsel Ananya is in a better position to answer the legal aspects.
Thank you, Mr. Raghu. Of course, our research pertaining to the product is confidential. However, to answer your question and to satisfy your curiosity on that aspect, I'd like to tell you that we have come up with a technology that allows us to make the turbines smaller and smaller. And like I mentioned in my opening statement, small enough to fit on a rooftop and to make it accessible to a lot of houses, etc. Which makes me, come to my next question. That would, of course, understand your interests better and move us along towards a proposal, which is what industry or what target market are you all, catering to, considering that we believe that ours is different?
I think this is a very direct answer. If you
No,
mind, if
no,
I go
I
ahead?
think
Yeah.
it's something technical, so Nana will be able to better handle this question.
The market that we are primarily focusing on, as we have, as you all know, that Uniwind has been a huge market in Europe for alternative energy sector, and that is our main aim. So I think that clarifies your question.
Am I right to assume that by alternate energy sector, you mean the public sector?
Absolutely. I think the basic premise that where we come from is the public sector. However, being already a leader and having so much of experience in this sector, we do not restrict ourselves just to the public sector. As Mr. Raghu has already mentioned that, and you also emphasized on the very fact that you've been trying to help domestically as well with the use of small turbines. So we do not limit ourselves just to the public sector. However, we can increase the scope of our area as and when regards to when we work on the same. Mr.
Yeah, of course. Please go ahead.
No, Mr. Ananya, you can go ahead, please.
Yes, so I do understand your perspective on why you would not want to limit yourself to only to the public sector. However, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that your product is not feasible for consumers to directly apply and use. However, our customer, and of course, Mr. Raghu will elaborate on that, is mostly catering to consumers directly. The very use of both the products, the very size of both the products, and the very market of both the products differ extensively. Now, I'd like Mr. Raghu to please clarify on our target market.
Oh, so sorry, just to step in here first before Mr. Raghu replies. So sometimes I cannot keep up despite my best efforts because there's been a lot of information that has been passed around, a lot of options. So if it's possible for all parties, we could slow down the discussion a little bit because it would really help in helping us understand one another better because of all the cultural differences and that English might not be all of our first languages. So I would just like to provide a very quick summary on what has really happened, and perhaps you could correct me if I'm wrong because I have been trying to keep up. So earlier, Uniwind has stated that they believe that their technology is unique and backed by research. However, this research is confidential, but it actually allows for the wind turbines, the vertical axis wind turbines, to be used on houses because it is small. And after that, Raghu, you earlier mentioned that you wanted to work with Uniwind and move innovation forward. And for Uniwind, you also discussed that you would love to support smaller companies in innovation and technology. And you have asked a clarification question on what industry does, or the target market that Raghu is trying to aim for. Am I right to summarize it this way? All right, so since I have completed the summary, perhaps if James has anything to say, or we could move back to Raghu.
Yes, Harvey. Thank you very much actually for asking me. I think I have a point to add. Parties, I believe we started off with the first point of the agenda, and we have diverged a little. I know, of course, things are very important and issues are interconnected, but it would be in collective interest if we take it step by step, right? And build a strong foundation first, and then maybe we can proceed. So I want to dissect two things here. The first one with regards to the initial issue with regards to the intellectual property. In there, we could gather that, of course, the products they seem unique. The technology used, both the parties claim that is unique. Therefore, there are some things to discuss there. And then we shifted towards the market and the use case scenario and whatever we cater to. So if you could maybe please come back to the first one. And if it's not possible because these are interconnected, then of course parties are free to do that. But Mr. Raghu, I'll give the chance to you, and please try to make us understand the answer to the first part, and then maybe you can move to the second one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mediators. It's great to have more structure, and thank you for keeping us on the straight and narrow road during this mediation. I appreciate that. I think what we would want to convey, once again, just like how we mentioned, just bringing it back to the most central theme. The reason that our company Windicom is bringing this product to market, and the reason that it was developed in the first place, is to help the layman, is to help the common man. I'll give you an example of what we mean by that. We don't just mean this in abstract terms. We mean this in very real terms at this point of development. For example, I'm right now sitting in a house. This house has 4 rooms and 5 people live in this house, right? My family. Now, our technology aims to have a small vertical axis wind turbine that is for the consumer market. So I would have to go and buy it myself. I would have to have either install it myself if I have the know-how, or get some technical help to get it installed. And then that would provide electricity to my home, to my family. This would be similar to, for example, how you buy a fridge or an AC or a TV. So basically it's a consumer good. From our understanding, Uniwind is in the business of producing mass electricity on a public level. It produces electricity for cities and for countries because of how big it is. And so we believe that both of our products cater to extremely different markets. There is no clash in the markets. And so what we would like to understand is that with this clarification, considering that we are a consumer product that's looking to only cater to certain consumers who, and again, just before I pass it on, I would like to give an example of why we entered this field. The reason is because I saw farmers facing problems, and this makes me a little emotional, sorry, but I have personally seen farmers who struggle to get irrigation into their fields, who have told me about their struggles. I have had meetings with many industry leaders and politicians about the issues they face. I mean, the issues of farmer suicides in the country are terrible. And so that is who we are doing it for, areas where public electricity is difficult to reach or it's too cost prohibitive. For those areas, we want to launch a product wherein the consumer, through maybe NGOs or through personal investment, can install a small scale wind turbine that they can personally use then, rather than on a public scale. That is not something we intend to do. With that clarification, I believe it would be ideal for Ben and Nana to clarify how they perceive this difference in market.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Raghu. To begin with, we absolutely understand and respect your emotions for the farmers, and we understand the good faith with which you are working, and we also understand your emotions. I can't absolutely emphasize more on how appreciative we are of the work that you're doing. However, I mean, I don't want to be sounded insensitive. However, I think it is something that deals with the rights of intellectual property. So though we understand that the aim is in all good faith and we want to talk about, and the ultimate benefit is for the farmers who are really poor and who are in dire need of our support, that we all appreciate and respect. However, at this point of time, we need to understand that this is a legal issue which needs to be dealt distinctly, keeping aside the aim and the ultimate purpose of what we're looking for. On being said that, and basing my statements on that very premise, I'd like to state that you mentioned about 2 different markets. You say that you want to cater to the domestic purposes with regards to helping the farmers in irrigation and agriculture. And we know that we've been a company who's been providing electricity to countries and cities. We understand that. However, I fail to understand, I would like to seek a clarification from your side that a distinction in market does not necessarily prove that there has been no infringement. I think the core point that we need to understand here is, and this is where I would like to use the second agenda that was used by your counsel, Ananya, wherein we talk about a collaborative approach. We're all open to a collaborative approach where we use the basic technology of vertical axis wind turbines, and you use the unique innovations that you have made, which is, as far as my knowledge is concerned, and I've got to know this from a lot of sources, that the unique innovations that you think are confidential enough have been patented by you. So you might understand that you already have a patented technology with yourself. And if somebody, some other third company comes to the very fact and it tries to make those very innovations on the basic technology, you would feel that your rights have been infringed. And it is not just about the emotions, but you also get hurt commercially and financially, because ultimately we need to understand that the purpose might be as beautiful as it seems, but we need to talk out the commercial things. We need to talk out the important factors that lay within it. So to just mention and clarify my whole understanding of where I'm coming from, we'd like to state that we're all open to a collaboration with you, wherein we use one part of the patented basic technology of vertical axis wind turbines that we have, and you use your patented technology with regards to the additional innovations that you've made on that very basic technology, which makes it smaller in size, which makes it lighter, and which helps it to be used in irrigation and agriculture and for the domestic purposes of the farmers. So we're all ready for a collaboration of that sort. However, just to state that very premise, I think you having a patented technology yourself needs to acknowledge that fact that the basic technology is our patent. Nena would like to clarify and give a basic framework of what I've just said.
Just to give a structure to what my client Ben has said, as he's already expressed, we are ready to move towards a collaborative spirit and provide these products to the consumers that actually need it, who are in dire need of it, like the farmers. However, we would like to start with Mr. Raghu and Ananya admitting and acknowledging that the basic technology that you are using are the one that was created by Unifield. And from that part of acknowledgement, we can move ahead and work towards a collaboration wherein we supply these products together to different markets.
And just to add a bit, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. As Mr. Raghu has been emphasizing on the benefit that is given to the farmers very repetitively, and we all appreciate that aim that he's working for. So we'd like to state that we, being a larger leader in the European market and the South Asian market, a collaboration between both of us is going to ultimately help both our interests, both commercially as well as with the positive and good faith aim that Mr. Raghu is working. Because we, being a larger company, have a lot of funds. We have a research and development team, and we also acknowledge the capabilities of the research and development team of Mr. Raghu and his company. So both of us coming together can cater to a larger market and can better help the farmers with the aim that he's aspiring to fulfill.
Mr. Raghu, so sorry, before you respond, I do understand that there has been really a lot of technology. And Naina, you have summarized the gist of what your client Ben has mentioned. So perhaps I think since there are really a lot of options on the table, it would be apt at this place to call for a caucus. So we will first be calling for a caucus with Ben and Naina. And after that, if Mr. Raghu and Ms. Ananya would want a caucus as well, we could call one with you later. So before we go into the caucus, perhaps for Mr. Raghu and Ananya, you could think about the options that Ben and Naina have proposed. I understand that you have things to say, and rest assured, we will listen to you. We will get back to you after this, if that's okay. And if James has anything else to add on first.
Well, Javi, my only point being that it's a client-driven process after all. So if the clients, if the parties together, they feel that yes, this might be the juncture where we can maybe combine everything that we have gathered so far and actually make a solution airtight and actually include every single element possible in it. Because there might be some concerns, some reservations, which the parties are maybe not really comfortable talking in the joint session. So in that regard, the private session, subject to the approval of both the parties, I would say, Harvey, and you would also agree, we can maybe move into that.
We are fine with that.
Yes.
I
Yes,
believe
Mr.
I
Raghu,
would
yes.
like to, if it's possible and if it's okay with everyone, I would like to say something before we move into a private caucus.
Please, Mr.
Please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that, look, I am an engineer and a businessman. So are you, Ben. You're a business executive, but you seem to know much more about the law than I do. That's why I have my counsel Ananya here. But I did not come here to talk about the law. I think if we were to talk about just the infringement and the alleged infringement and the rights and the innovation and the material changes that we have made with our innovation and our technology, then we could do so in a court of law. We could have only Nana and Ananya be across each other in a courtroom and talk to a judge. But that's not what we are here for. We are here to make a settlement. I think that your proposal that we acknowledge that there has been an infringement is not something that is really acceptable to us, because we really do not believe that there has been one. We understand that you have that concern, and we come here to make a settlement. However, we do not think it is right in the spirit of mediation to ask us to concede that and put that as a condition to an agreement. That does not help us move ahead with this mediation. That being said, we do have things which we believe we can collaborate on. However, I would again like to reiterate that we do not believe there has been any patent infringement. I also seek a clarification from from Ben. Ben mentioned while he was proposing that we collaborate that they have their patent of vertical axis wind turbines. And he mentioned that we have our patent of the new technology that we have. Does that mean that they're conceding that they're willing to let us have the patent? Because that is what I understood from what she mentioned. She said that your patented technology of the new innovation that you have done. So I seek a clarification on that. And if once that clarification happens, and unless Council Ananya has anything to add to this, I'm happy to move to a private caucus after. Yeah.
I think I don't have anything to add, but I would urge Ben to please provide clarification on the question asked by my client.
Right. Thank you, Raghu and Ananya. If the mediators permit me to clarify this before going to the caucus, I think it will be food for thought for Raghu and Ananya to think and consider over. Right. Thank you so much. So my understanding was very clear. We do not concede to the fact that you have already got the patent. The technology, the new technology and innovations that you've added to the basic technology of vertical axis wind turbines is what we're talking about. Now, since this being your own technology and you consider that it is something confidential, which cannot be revealed at this point of time, you might better understand what I'm talking about. So to make my position very, very clear, there are two distinct parts to what is now called as the vertical axis wind turbine. One is the basic technology that was developed by Univind, which we have a patent to, and which we say that it has been infringed because the same basic technology was used by Raghu's company. Now, the second thing that we talk about are the unique innovations. I didn't want to put this as status because Mr. Raghu said that this is something confidential information. But if Mr. Raghu permits me to do so, I have heard about the unique innovations that have been made to the basic technology that we have patent to. So if Mr. Raghu permits me to share that, I'd like to put it forth in front of the mediators as well, so that we have a better clarity of where we're coming from and what infringement are we talking about.
If I may interject here, mediators, can you guarantee that the conversation henceforth will remain completely confidential?
That is absolutely correct, Ms. Ananya, of course.
Then I urge Ms. Raghu to go ahead with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mediator, for the reassurance, and Ananya for that clarification. So I think it is something technical, which I'm not really sure of. So I might skip the words and the meaning change. I'll just quote it directly. So we've come to know that Windacom's design obviated the possibility of blade fatigue, and that the vertical axis wind turbines were encountering due to the possibility of variation in applied forces. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that there has been the material that has been used for making the blades is your innovation, which makes the blades a little more lighter, so that even the slightest of winds can make the wind turbine move in a circular motion and can generate energy. This is something unique innovation that we've come to know about, and which we think is something that is your innovation and which you have patent to. So we've got this information that the innovation that have been put forth, you've already got a patent for the same. So now that, as far as my understanding goes, and I think I'm making this very clear for everybody, that there are two different things. If the mediators could help me for the same to make Mr. Raghu and Ananya understand this better, that will be really helpful.
Yes, sure. I'm so sorry, Ms. Ananya, but yeah, so the options have been put forth, and I think that it is an opportune time to call for a caucus. So before Ms. Ananya and Mr. Raghu respond, perhaps you could take some time to think about the options that have been presented, and we will get back to you after a short caucus.
Give me
Maybe we can,
I
Harvey,
believe-
I think maybe we can
Yes.
let Ms. Ananya
Yes.
say if she insists on it. Yes, Ms. Ananya, please go ahead.
I believe that with the information that Ben has shared with us right now, I don't mean to get too technical, of course, but I'm sure that Naina has intimated Ben about the concept of non-obviousness and material change. I believe that with the added technology that that Ben has revealed to us right now, that along with our micro application technology, I believe that those are aspects that create material change in the product, that make the product non-obvious, and therefore a skilled person in this field would be able to say that yes, these two products are different. Yet again, I would like to urge all the people in the meeting here today that this is not a blame game. I believe that there can be two truths to a situation, and that we should address the friction and move ahead. And in light of that, we'd like to discuss certain proposals, but I believe that it's time for a caucus. So right after that, we can resume this.
That is well, thank you, Ms. Ananya, actually for this. And parties, I also at this moment, I know the issue has become slightly more complex. I know there are so many elements to discuss. So let's take it step by step, because maybe when we're at the edge of a cliff, sometimes the progress is not taking a step forward, but actually backwards. So maybe we can roll it back a little and then move into a caucus. And then we'll, of course, get to the nitty-gritties and then the final solution maybe. Harvey, if now maybe we can proceed if the parties and Harvey, all of you agree.
Yep, that sounds great. So I think here we can call a caucus first. So I'd like to assure Raghu and Ananya that you will be heard after this. We will listen to you, and we will ensure that you will have a caucus that is about the same amount of time as Ben and Naina. So please rest assured. So supervisors, could we get
facilitate the... I'm sorry,
yeah, just to reconfirm, you want me to put Ben and Naina in the waiting room, right?
No, we would be having a caucus with Ben and Naina. So could we put Mr. Raghu and Ananya into a breaking room?
Harvey, I think I had a little lag at my end. I hope I didn't make any unintended interruptions.
No, you didn't. No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for...
Right. Oh, I think, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I would first like to say that we can begin the caucus session. So I would just like to reaffirm that this caucus is confidential, and all information you tell us here will not leave this room unless you allow us to do so. So this caucus is a safe space for you to lay out all your concerns, and specifically what you want to achieve out of this mediation session today. So with this, I actually have a few clarifying questions after, but perhaps you could provide me with your thoughts and concerns about the infringement of the patent technology, because it has been a topic of contention and it has been going back and forth. So I really want to understand your side and your interests. So would establishing infringement ensure that both parties could move forward, or would it entail more discussions? We would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey, for the reassurance of confidentiality. This is one point that I'd like to I'd like both the mediators to convey to the other party as well, that we're not here for any sort of a blame game. We're all here open with a collaborative approach, which is why we very initially also in the mediation session mentioned this fact that we wanted to work together with WinterCon, and we wanted to have a collaborative approach and work with them. We understand that a lot of legal aspects are coming, and mediation is not exactly the right place to deal with the legal aspects, because we have the counsels with us. However, we would never want to take this matter into litigation, because we realize that mediation for us at this point of time is the best method to move forward and to amicably settle the dispute, so that we have a mutually beneficial settlement at the end of the day, and none of us have to suffer because of the end result. We'd just like to put forth that, as we've already stated, we want a collaborative approach. We know how capable Raghu as an individual is, and how hard his research and development team has worked. And we've got to know a lot about the innovations that have been added. So the innovations that have been added by WindCon were some of the difficulties that we were facing with our technology. So we deeply appreciate and respect the kind of work that he has done. We understand, but however, we're not hell-bent on the very fact that they accepted that there has been an infringement. However, one thing needs to be made clear, that we have a patent of the basic technology, and even if they do not want to accept that there is an infringement, one thing needs to be clear, that they cannot get a patent for the very same thing that we already have, because it is something that we have designed. We have put in a lot of effort and time in order to develop the technology. So we might understand that there must be the use and the application of some basic principles of physics. And as Miss Ananya was trying to explain my counsel, Nena, that it is very obvious that the science principles might be used to try and make a product which is genuinely new. We understand that there might be even a coincidence with regard to the application of the same. But just to read the very fact that even if they don't accept that there has been an infringement, they need to admit the very fact that the basic technology of vertical axis wind turbines is a technology that has been developed by Univind. It is a technology that has been developed by us. And if there is an understanding on the same, and not even if with regard to the infringement, then I think we can move forward with a more collaborative approach, wherein we can provide a larger market to WindCon to work for, and to realize Mr. Raghu's actual aim, wherein he's trying to support the farmers. So I think we can maybe put in a lot of funds in order for him to help in this regard. Nena, do you have anything else to add?
Thank you, Ben. Not to take much of your time, just to solidify what my client Ben has said, we are ready to work with WindCon, and we just want them to admit that the basic technology and the design of the vertical axis wind turbine is ours, and we are willing to work with their new technology along with our basic technology to create products and cater to a much wider market. That's it from our side.
All right, so thank you for sharing. I just have a few clarification questions. So am I right to say that earlier you mentioned about collaboration and future relations when you work together to target the different markets? So you also mentioned that you were very protective of the fact that you had a patent and that they infringed it. So am I right to say that if there is no acknowledgement that the patent was infringed, then this future collaboration would be at stake? Or would there be any other alternatives as to what can be done if in the unfortunate event the other side does not want to admit that there was an infringement? Yeah.
We have already, I've elaborated this on the fact that even if they do not admit to the fact that there has been an infringement, they need to at least acknowledge the fact that the basic technology that they're using is something that has been developed and designed by Univind, and to which we have a patent. So as far as my understanding was, Mr. Raghu wanted to get a patent on the new product. However, for the new product to get a patent, he needs to acknowledge the fact that the basic technology is something that has been developed by Univind. And even if they don't accept that there has been an infringement, I think we still have a very wide open possibility for collaboration in the future.
All right, so one last question. So could I check that is there anything that is preventing you from being able to share this with Mr. Raghu and Ananya in the main chat? Because we feel that the way that us mediators see it, and this is not advice in any way, it is just an observation, is that perhaps with a candid sharing of things like this, the parties will be more open to and see that their concerns are being heard from both sides, and that they might be more willing to move on and perhaps consider your options and interests. And with that, I'd like to see if James has anything else to add on before we end this caucus session.
Well, Well, I think Javi, your questions have covered most of the things, and we also have to give equal time to the other party as well in case they require. So, if the parties have nothing else to share, maybe we can proceed back to the conference, the joint session.
We may proceed.
Yeah, but just to confirm
Yes.
that everything in this mediation, in this caucus remains confidential unless you wish for us to share. So could we clarify what exactly would you want to keep confidential before we end the caucus?
I think, Mr. Harvey, we've been very open with our approach. All that have been stated in the caucus right now was directly or indirectly already stated in the joint session. So there is nothing as such that we'd not like you to or reveal it to the other party, just an emphasis to the very fact to please make them understand the very fact that we're all open here. We want to collaborate with them. However, there is certain misunderstandings which can be removed and we can work forward together.
Okay. Thank you, parties. I request the supervisor now to get the other party back in the session.
Just a second. Time has been paused until I shift.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Raghu, I hope Ms. Ananya is also joining in.
Yes, I think she
Oh,
just.
yes, both of them are here. Thank you for your patience. We'll resume the timer now. You have how much? 16 minutes and 54 seconds left.
Oh,
So
okay,
we'll
thank
resume.
you
Just give us
for.
a countdown. We'll start the timer.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. So you can begin the timer now. Mr. Raghu, Ms. Ananya, first of all, welcome to this private session. There were certain information that we got from the other party in the session, and we have the permission to actually tell it to you. So my question, first of all, would be: would you like to hear it in your private session, and then maybe add on to it, and we can basically combine the proposal and counter proposal and clarify it there only, or is the private caucus fine as of now?
I think we think that our proposal would be better placed if we were to put it to them directly after this caucus.
Okay, sure. So if Mr. Raghu, I can let you know the part of the proposal that they have in this private session, right?
Please do.
Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Raghu, Ms. Ananya, let me again highlight that this caucus has an added layer of confidentiality involved. So whatever you will be telling us, we won't be saying it to the other party unless you expressly permit us to do so. And Mr. Raghu, of course, I could see that there was a little bit of consistent clarifications and going back and forth on the part of whether or not the technology was same or different. So Mr. Raghu, I want to ask you first, your technology, are you claiming that the entire product and the technology used in it is something that you would want to file patent on, and that entire thing is yours, or is it two different things? Maybe you can agree that the innovation that you added on to some other basic sets of physics, that is the only part where you will be filing the patent for.
I think my counsel is in a better position to answer this based on the fact that we believe that there's material change and so there's no patent infringement. Ananya?
Yeah, so I believe that my client views his product as a whole and not two different things. Like we've given the wheel analogy in the beginning, that's exactly what we're applying here. The initial technology is simply the base, one aspect of it. We believe that we've added material change to it in terms of the blade and the micro application, and therefore constructed a whole new product, which we will seek to protect through intellectual property regimes. We are not looking at it in two different, two separate perspectives.
So, of course, Mr. Raghu, you could understand that the other party was a little pushy on the fact that they wanted the acknowledgement from your end with regards to that your product uses some technology that they claim it's theirs. So, given the fact that they might have that stand, which will be rigid for them, do you have any other alternatives to propose, basically encapsulating all of this issue and maybe moving forward with a future contract in which there can be some give and take, where you can basically take 2 steps back and maybe we can ask the other party to do the same? Do you have an alternative on that?
So sorry, Mr. Raghu, before you proceed, I would just like to reaffirm that this caucus is a confidential one, and that any information you tell us will be kept confidential and will not leave this room unless you allow us to. So with that out of the way, please proceed.
To answer that question, James, and thank you, Harvey, that is very reassuring. To answer the question that you put forth on what the other party has proposed with regards to the acknowledgement, James, we do not believe that is a fair thing to ask, because that is why we are on the table here. If I was to come into this session and to say that without discussing anything else, we want them to say that we have no patent infringement, that wouldn't be right, because that would not be in the spirit of mediation. The reason we are here is because they believe that there was a patent infringement and we are saying there isn't. And so to just ask us to just say that there is not fair on the process that we are doing here today. On the fact that you ask us how we would like to move forward, I would like to say that as the mediators, I would request you to facilitate conversation between us in such a manner so that they can commit to a lasting solution that is within a specific and reasonable time period. And by reasonable, I mean somewhere close to 6 months. This is a priority for us. However, we would not want you to tell this timeline to them, as this is an interest that we would like to keep to ourselves. However, we believe that sharing this perspective with you would help you get greater clarity on our interests and facilitate conversation in that direction without directly revealing it to them. That being said, I think we have nothing else to add in the caucus. However, considering that we haven't taken much time in our caucus compared to, I think, how much was spent with their caucus, what I would like urge you to what I would like to urge is that right after this caucus, we present a proposal that we have to them, which does take into account the things that you have mentioned that they said in their caucus. So right after this caucus, in the joint session, we would like to put forth a solution to them, and we would only like to do it in the joint session because we think it's better if we put it directly to them.
Understandable. Javi, yes.
Clarify our position that has been revealed through this caucus is that we believe that time is of the essence for us, and given a 6-month window, we'd like to discuss prospects of future collaboration. And for that, we have a proposal which we would love if we got the opportunity to propose in the joint session.
Javi, do you have something to add? And maybe we can then proceed to.
Yeah, so I'll just add a quick observation. So we do rest assured that we observe both parties, they have a common interest in coming to a solution in this matter. So rest assured that the timeline won't be mentioned due to confidentiality. And I'll pass the time back on to James to sum up this session.
I think, Javi, you and I, if we are clear on this, I think we can let the parties then proceed to the joint session and offer that, put that proposal in front of the other party. And if you don't have anything else to add, Mr. Raghu, we would want your permission to go to the session.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Javi.
Thank you. I would request the supervisor to facilitate the joint session again. Hello, Ben and Nana. I hope I am audible.
Yes.
Welcome back to the joint session parties. Ben and Nana, we heard you in your caucus. We know the kind of information that you wanted us to tell to the other party. I think Mr. Raghu has been very accommodative, and he has something, a sort of a proposal for you, which might suit your needs. And Mr. Raghu, please go ahead and put that forward if you can.
Thank you, Mr. Mediator. Our proposal that we would like to put forth to Univind is that if, and this is contingent on them not contesting this patent, if they were to not contest this patent, we are willing to share a percentage of the profit that we make from this product once it is launched for a specific time duration, which is 1 year. And we are willing to share 5% of it. So 5% of the profit that we make from the launch of this product to 1 year mark, we are willing to share 5% of it with Univind. In return, we ask that they drop the challenge to the patent forever, and that we have that they provide us with certain expertise to assist us in finalizing the details of this product and launching it to market. I believe that that is a solution that might work for both the parties. It has economic advantage for Univind, and it brings more expertise to our product, which we always welcome.
To add on to that, I believe that it also has a reputational advantage. I believe that a big company like Univind helping out a startup like us would have a greater impact on the new startups and in the wind energy arena in whole.
Ben and Anna, please feel free to respond to that.
Right. Thank you for the proposals, and thank you for being so much accommodative and forthcoming with the proposal that you've already made. We had mentioned this in the caucus as well, that even if you don't acknowledge the very fact that there has been an infringement, it wasn't contingent on the fact that we're not going to have any kind of collaboration between the two parties. So we were always, from the very beginning, and we'd mentioned this, that we were always open for a collaborative approach and to work with you people. We understand that it is going to be it is going to create a positive impact for the reputation of both the countries, and we will be able to together work towards a larger area wherein we will be able to provide WindCon with a larger market in Europe and South Asia, wherein also we will be able to help Mr. Raghu aspire the goal that he seems to with regards to the farmers. I think NENA will be in a better capacity to understand and to reply on the proposal that you've made with regard to 1% and the percentage of share that percentage share of profit that you're talking about.
Thank you, Ben. Before we move ahead and reply to this, I just like to ask a clarification that this product that is being talked about, is this the vertical axis wind turbine product, or is it all the products that are made with the basic technology that was created by Uniwind?
This is referring to, like we mentioned, that patent is for a product we wish to launch soon into the market, which relates to a direct-to-consumer product that will have application on a micro level and will use vertical axis wind turbines at a much smaller scale through the research and technology that we have developed. So this is a consumer product that we are going to launch to market. This refers to that particular product.
To clarify, we mean our final product, inclusive of all additions and all modifications and the whole package essentially.
Right. So our position stands here that we are in agreement to what you have said. However, I see that there is paucity of time. So with regard to the percentage of share and the profit sharing mechanism or the settlement between both the two companies can be discussed and settled on a later point of time. However, we agree to the fact that since the new product that you're talking about, we can collaborate on the same, and we can provide you with the expertise that you require in order to further develop this product and help in the field that you're catering to.
To sum up what Ben was trying to say, yes, we are willing to go forward in the direction of this agreement. The numbers and the shares that could be decided in a further meeting. However, we are willing to work towards this, and we will also help you guys cater towards a bigger market on our end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your cooperation on this, and we thank you for having such a forward-looking mindset.
Yes, I would like to echo what Ananya has just said. We welcome this. We welcome the fact that you are so accommodative towards this proposal. I have always looked forward to working with Uniwind. It's a great opportunity to work together and bring our own fields of expertise and bring the technologies that we have in our companies together for the common good of the people, of the common people. And so we really welcome that. We agree that due to the time and due to the fact that everyone here might have other professional commitments after this, we can decide the exact details and workings of the deal in future sessions. I would just like to say that just one small clarification, if I might ask, if that's okay. Does this mean, and like I mentioned, this proposal of ours is contingent on the fact that with the profit sharing for the limited time, there would also be the fact that Uniwind would drop the claim on the patent that we are filing. Is that something that they have accepted? Because our proposal otherwise does not work financially for us unless that also is a part of this deal.
We agree to the fact that the new product that will be created when we combine the two technologies together, we would not raise any objection to the new product. However, I think just an acknowledgement of the fact that the basic technology with regard to the wind axis vertical axis turbines was first initially designed and made by Uniwind is an important consideration from our side as well. To make things very, very clear, we will not raise any sort of objection later in the future with regard to the final product that comes out.
We welcome this, and I believe that for the future sessions, my counsel Ananya can get in touch with NENA and we can plan that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So just to step in here first, I would first like to say that we are really glad that a general agreement has been made between both parties to discuss the percentage as well as the collaboration between both parties. We recognize that both parties have really been very candid with us and really open in sharing about all your concerns, which really helped make this session a very fruitful one. So perhaps before we end off the session, I would like to give everyone some homework for the next mediation session. So everyone could go home and think more about the specifics of the proposal that was proposed, which was the percentages. And during the next mediation session, which we will schedule in a bit after this, perhaps we could come back here and discuss a much more productive session, because we have set down the foundation for the relationship between both parties here. And I'm sure the next one will be great as well. So I would like to pass the time back to James for him to say a few words as well.
Of course, thank you, Avi. Thank you, Avi, for that. Of course, I also would like to congratulate parties for actually reaching a sort of consensus in spirit, at least to the fact that there will be an agreement that will be for the future relationship and a launch of a new product that both the parties will together launch. And of course, the term specifics, the profit percentage and the time for which the agreement would sustain, that is a matter of further negotiations. And I think this is actually a benefit that we derive out of this process. We can have n number of sessions, so there's really no need to rush things up. And I'm glad that parties have understood that and left it for next session. With that, I thank the parties again for coming here and taking up the time. I thank you for being professional and respectful. And with that, while we're at it, I would also like to ask if maybe next week, same day, same time works for us for the next session.
It works for us. And since I already have the floor, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Raghu and Ananya again for coming here. And I am very grateful to you for coming forth with an open approach and a proposal that will be equally beneficial for the both of us. We look forward to hearing from you with regard to the nitty-gritties of the agreement that both of us will make. I'd also like to thank the mediators, James and Howie, for facilitating this process so well, because it wouldn't have been possible with you. This being such a complicated issue, it was made a little more simpler with your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are very grateful as well. Thank you.
Thank
We'd
you.
like to thank everyone for coming here today.
I think the supervisor and the timekeeper can stop.
Thank you so much for the round, guys. Just one thing, now that we are done, you all would be shifted to the caucus room, post which the judges will be given around 15 minutes or more to deliberate. The judges will mark you all, and after that, once they are done with their assent, we'll call all the participants back to this room for the feedback session. So I'll be shifting you all now to the caucus. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Moshmi, since it is being live streamed, we'll have to do it the other way. We'll have to send all the judges to the caucus room and keep the participants here. Moshmi, can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Can maybe the supervisor can instruct us from here?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll be beginning with the closing ceremony in another 5 to 6 minutes. Thank you so much.
Mathis.
We'll be beginning in exactly 1 minute. We're just fixing one technical issue, then we'll begin. Thank you for your I apologize for the delay. We will now begin with the closing ceremony of the 4th NUJS Mediation Competition. Respected Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. N.K. Chakrabarti, Sir, Faculty Advisor, Ms. Sampa Karmakar Singh, our chief guests, Mr. Rothan Weger from WNI, Ms. Andrea Hartman-Perudu from International Mediation Campus, Ms. Deborah Lockhart from ADC, Ms. Chitra Narayanan, and all other esteemed assessors, brilliant participants, and my dear NUJS family, I take great pride as the chief coordinator of the 4th NUJS MC to welcome you to the end of this exhilarating and extraordinary journey. Once an experienced professional who organized several area competitions told me that there are 3 pillars for a competition to succeed. The 3 Gs, they said: great participation, great collaborators, and a great organizing committee. The level of participation in NUJS mediation competition has always been excellent. And this year, we clinched greater heights as we garnered participation from not only 26 Indian teams, but more than a dozen international teams, making this competition a truly global one. As for our collaborators, we are honored to have collaborated with some of the best names worldwide. To share with you the same, I now request Rudra Atre, Head of Collaboration and Deputy Coordinator, to please take the stage.
Good evening, everybody. As Laksh correctly said, any successful competition requires great collaborators. I still remember him telling me back in the month of September of 2021 how this year's NUJS mediation competition would once again be bigger and better. We are so happy to have had all our collaborators on board the 4th NUJS mediation competition. We are immensely grateful for the individuals and organizations who have given us their time, support, and valuable guidance throughout this process. We would like to extend our gratitude to all our collaborators who have helped us make this competition bigger, better, and an absolute success. With this, I would like to thank our collaborators, starting with our gold partners, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas & Co., the Vega Negotiation Institute, the International Arbitration and Mediation Center, Hyderabad, the Peacekeeping and Conflict Resolution Team, PACT, the Bombay Chambers of Commerce and Industry, the Center for Advanced Mediation Practice, CAMP, the Negotiation Challenge, TNC, and the Transatlantic Negotiation Competition, TANC. We now go on to our knowledge partners for the 4th NUJS mediation competition. We have LNL Partners and the International Mediation Campus, IMC. Lastly, we have our media partner, the Eastern Book Company, SEC Online. I would like to extend great thanks to all our collaborators. Without you, this competition would not have been able to be half as successful as it has been. Thank you for being patient with us and putting your trust in us. And we look forward to further extending our relationship beyond this competition.
Rightly said, Rudra. Thank you. I now request our chief guide, the force without whom the competition could not happen and could not be a success, our Vice Chancellor, to please address the participants.
Good evening and perhaps good afternoon also all the participants. It is my pride, privilege to be with all of you in our this closing ceremony of 4th ADR competition organized by our ADR Society. In fact, NUJS lucky and we feel ourselves privileged to have the collaboration of many occasions and our endeavors for the international participants and also collaborations. So I extend my grateful thanks, record our gratitude to Andrew and his team for collaborating this fourth NUJS ADR competition, and also other collaborators who are also partners in making this a grand success, both international and the national partners. And I know that to organize, as my student already mentioned, require a good and grand organized team. And I am proud of my students. They are well organized. They are devoted. Last almost 1 month, they have devoted their time, energy, even in the nights, to make it a success. And for that, I also thanks my team and also the judges who make the competition and extend it to internationally standard. So my thanks and my gratitude to all the judges who accepted our invitation. And it is our also pride that though it is only for competition, but within that ADR society in India, NUJS ADR society already imprinted its influence and also its deep imprint in the minds of the people, minds of the legal profession, including the higher authority. And I hope that ADR in our NUJS will be the leading ADR movement. They have already started a movement which recognized. So for that, this type of competition gives them exposure, connection, which it will be used by us, and will not only after it is a close, it is in fact a beginning to connect all of you in our next ventures and activities. So I hope we will get your support in our students' effort. So it is my humble request to all of you to support our students and our effort to make ADR, which is internationally now emerging justice system that will come to India also. Success immediately may not be, but at least it will be recognized as very much essential part of our justice system. That is, we are struggling. For that, your help will be very much helpful. Thank you all to be with me and my teams today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have Mr. Roar Thanweger, head, facilitator, and founder of Weger Negotiation Institute. Weger Negotiation Institute, or as we fondly know it, WNI, is a global provider of negotiation, mediation, conflict resolution, and influence training and consulting. Every conflict is unique, which is why WNI offers a wide spectrum of services. WNI focuses on the people, how they can best maximize the bottom line and provide the tools that drive continued success. And these are some of the things which I have learned from Rose in my sparring sessions with him. I now invite him to please enlighten our participants so they may continue the success which they have attained.
Thank you so much, Laksh. It was a great privilege to meet you and your team in another competition and have the ability to do a sparring session with you. And I would also like to follow up on the very wise words that Mr. Nirmal just shared with us. You know, the reason I am part of this, and I guess many of the other judges, is to support you as the new generation in finding ways to solve disputes in other ways than through the hard and long and expensive way through the courts. But that's also a way, but one of my goals is to widen the spectrum to see how we could solve that in different ways. It is a great privilege to be a gold partner with you in this competition. I'm proud of being a gold partner and the way you have been able to show your skills in negotiations through the way we have found a way to do so. What I would like to use my few minutes to address all the participants. I want to say, as lawyers and future lawyers, remind yourself that it's not everything we do that is logical or rational processes. In dispute resolution, you need to rely on your instincts, on your intuition, and your continuing experiences in negotiations and mediation. That is something, when I met Lax, he said to me, Roar, this is a mind game. And he has so right. It's so many things we think is rational, but it's related to a mind game. I have quoted Lax several times since we had that, because I thought that was such a to-the-point element he made at that point. When I've been listening in today as a judge in one of the semifinals, I also would like to say we need to remember as lawyers to combine our skills in argumentation and speaking, also with strong tools of listening more and asking relevant and good questions. So with those few words, I would like to say thank you to all of you that have participated in this competition. I would like to say thank you to the organizing committee for doing a great job. I know how much work it is on the background, and I'm really proud of the way you have been doing. I want to say the best of luck to all the teams and try to be part of many competitions in the future. And I think that's a very wise time spent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We were honored to have you and WNI as a supporter for our competition. And we hope that this support will continue always. Now we have Ms. Andrea Hartman-Perodu from International Mediation Campus. For everyone's reference, International Mediation Campus is a leading institute for online mediation and alternative dispute resolution training based in Europe. Their mission is to train people to become mediators and to enable mediators from all over the world to deepen their knowledge and to be conflict resolvers who will make a difference in the world. I request if ma'am may please address the participants and also announce the anticipated winners of the International Mediation Campus raffle.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for having me here, and like this great competition and everything you put into it, the great organization. I'm very, very honored to be with you, and I can just share my experience from the last years observing competitions like you have done one. We have the feeling that there is a lot of new talented mediators coming exactly from this background. And I think it's such a good practice to start with competitions or to start with trainings and then go into a competition. I know that some of your assessors have been trained with us, our alumni from the IM Mediation Campus, and also we have a lot of people who started with competition and then kind of fell in love with mediation, and then they want to train more and actually be also mediators in the future, or combine that with their profession as lawyers. So I'm not going to talk for a long time because you might be very interested in who won the raffle. We had this raffle going on where we will give 7 scholarships, different scholarships to students who participated in this competition for different parts of a training. Can I maybe share my screen, because I try. Oh no, I can't yet.
Ma'am, you can now. I've made you the co-host.
Can I? Okay, perfect. Can you see it? Yes. Okay. So these are the IM Campus scholarships, and we have 5 scholarships for self-taught units. I just want to explain very briefly what that is. So these are 20 recorded videos about mediation. It starts really with general information about mediation, but then also goes deeper into the psychology of people who are in a conflict dynamics. How do you react actually when you are in a conflict? What are different conflict types, and so on. So it comes from general information about mediation going specific into also fields of psychology. And these are combined with some exercises. We give you some reading, some self-reflection, and you can do that in your self-pace. It's asynchronous material, and the access to this to this self-taught, we call it, that is also part of the mediation training in general, have one. Sabi Pastor, this is the first one. I don't know if you are here, Sabi. If yes, then maybe you can switch your camera on. If not, we give it a loss anyway. You're the first one. Then the next one is Nilesh. Also applause to you. I mean, I have to say, right, just for clarification, it was a raffle. So you send your applications in, and we really picked by chance people who won this. The next one is Muhammad Umar. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you're here. That's so good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm happy as well.
We have Yona, who won the next one. What happens? And then we have Yashonandani. I hope I pronounced it right. For the 5th scholarship of self-taught units. And now we come to the IM Campus Certified Mediation Training. And the people you can see here on the screen are part of our trainers. We have 20 trainers from 20 countries. And this is an IMI certified training, 40 hours training. We have groups of 25 to 30 people. And usually we have up to 20 different countries, like people from 20 different countries in our trainings. So it is a truly international training. This is because we try to also give access to people from countries with lower purchase power. So we implemented a fair price system. And I would say it's a full certified mediation training, but on top of it, it is really an intercultural experience as well. Always for our teachers and myself as well. And we have 2 full scholarship for this certified training, and we will give that to the 2 people we by coincidence have chosen, and that is Samuel. I don't know if Samuel is here. Okay, he will be informed. And the next one is to someone who is here, I think, because I have seen her, Federica. Congratulazioni.
I'm here. Thank you. Grazie.
Yeah, that's it. These were the 7 people, and we're going to, of course, inform everyone via mail. And for everyone who haven't won like a scholarship here, there might be other occasions. We try to do, like, give a lot of access to students who are interested in mediation. So if you're really interested in trainings, just get in touch with you, and we see how we can arrange maybe parts of the training, or can just inform you about the community and give you access to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, next, we have Ms. Deborah Lockhart. Ma'am was appointed CEO of the Australian Dispute Center in 2013. The ADC is an independent, not-for-profit that works to advance the world-class conflict management and dispute resolution in Australia and internationally. Now, another note why NUJS MC is one of the most anticipated competitions in the country and worldwide is that we have dedicated people behind, and the dedication is reflected by our judges. So ma'am is up right now for this closing ceremony at 2 a.m. in the morning in Sydney. So if we please have ma'am address the participants, specifically also about the dedication that she clearly is showing right now.
Thank you, Laksh, and thanks everybody for having me. And I don't know if I needed that reminder, it was 2 a.m. But really, really terrific to be here, and congratulations to Vice Chancellor for his leadership in running such a successful competition, and the team in putting it together. The Australian Dispute Centre collaborates with the International Chamber of Commerce to run a competition later in the year, and we know how much hard work is involved. So congratulations, you've done an absolutely stellar job, and it is my real privilege to have been on the grand final panel of judges. It was no easy task. For those of you watching, you would have seen the caliber of the competitors that we had. I would just add my voice to those who've already spoken in congratulating you all, everyone who's participated in this competition. And as I'm mooted as a student, but we certainly had nothing like these amazing international competitions that you have the opportunity to be involved in now. And what I'd say, and I'd add to the Vice Chancellor's comments about the benefits of mediation and its contribution to access to justice. And it is clearly an incredibly and increasingly important area globally. In Australia, we have a deep, deep culture of mediation. I did my training back in 1993, show you how old I am, but I'm certainly not the oldest mediator in Australia. It's fair to say that right across civil society in Australia, mediation is used in every sector. And it means that we've got enormous experience. And it means that we have commercial entities, business people who get into a dispute and they're walking into their lawyers' offices and they are expecting to mediate. That is their expectation, that that's what they're going to be doing, because the reality is that that's exactly what they're going to be doing, because the courts will not hear their matters until they have at least attended a mediation. Certainly they don't need to settle, but they do need to attend. So access to justice and keeping those wheels of justice turning are incredibly great outcomes from mediation training. But as young lawyers, would-be lawyers, soon to be lawyers, business people, policymakers, wherever you go in your careers, you will find that you will use the skills of the mediator and those negotiation skills in everything you do. From 1993 until today, I can tell you that a day would not go by when I haven't used the skills in some way, shape or form. Whether you're talking clients one-on-one, whether you're in a meeting, whether you're chairing the meeting or just in the meeting that's going pear-shaped and you're trying to get it back on track, you will find that these skills are really powerful, both the negotiation skills, but also the framework that the mediation process gives you. So I really encourage you to pursue your understanding, and thank you to International Mediator Campus. Obviously, just single-handedly advanced at least 7 careers in the sector, but definitely don't let it go and build on what you've learned. So congratulations. Once again, my warm thanks to the organising committee. I was so enthusiastic. I have to tell you that I turned up a month early. Said, hang on, well, that was probably my COVID brain, but it was terrific to be involved. So thank you, Laksh and the team.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being here with us. Next, we have Ms. Chitrana Rainen. Ma'am is a lawyer in independent private practice and an established mediator. She has over 20 years experience in corporate commercial law, both in transaction advisory and dispute resolution. Ma'am is also a trained and certified mediator and mediated commercial, corporate, and family disputes for over 16 years. Now, may please request ma'am if she could address the participants and share her wisdom with them.
Thank you, Laksh, and good evening to everyone. Good evening to the Vice Chancellor of NUJS. You must be very proud of your students today. The first I saw of, not the first, but the most recent I saw of NUJS involvement in mediation, and that's something very dear to me, was the fantastic report that we put together on the draft mediation law. So, you know, it's not just competitions. I think NUJS is doing far, far more. You have distinguished alumni who are doing a lot in mediation and online dispute resolution. This should be a very proud evening for you and to all the students in the team here. Moving beyond NUJS, it is so heartening as a mediator to see the number of competitions that are coming up in mediation that the students in different colleges in the country are organizing. It's so heartening to see the kind of effort, the commitment, and the seriousness that students and participants are bringing to this competition. We were blown away by you know, how well you know, the participants participated in the finals. And I'm hopeful that your generation, and I mean all the participants here, your generation will redefine what resolving disputes will be. And I'm equally hopeful that your aspirations will not be limited and confined aspirations that my generation had, and that your aspiration will be that not to win cases, but to resolve conflicts. My very, very best to all of you. You are our hope. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today with us, ma'am, and thank you for commenting on the mediation bill comments. Now, before we move to the most anticipated part of the closing ceremony, from the participants' point of view, some dues need to be paid and work needs to be acknowledged. While the 4th NUJS mediation competition lasted only 3 days for me and my team, it was 6 months of hard work and toil. So thanks are in order. A man can't move mountains alone, and he needs a team by his side. Firstly, I would like to thank our Vice Chancellor and faculty advisor for guiding us at every step and ensuring we have all the resources and the support to make this competition a success. I would like to thank all our assessors, right from the preliminary rounds to the grand finals, who have imparted great wisdom to our participants and make sure that the level of competition stays higher. I would like to thank all the first-year members who have worked day in, day out and ensured that every logistical issue, every kind of concern is met. Now I would like to come to the core team who has not slept for weeks to ensure that this competition succeeds. I would like to thank Mehul Jain, Siddharth, Arnav for handling the technology team. I would like to thank Tanish Arora, Arunima, Madiha, Shifali, Shrirupa for handling the design and the PR team, and Arunima and Akshat Goyal for the judges team. I would like to thank Indrayani and Suraj for handling the participation team. I would like to thank Aditi and Diksha for handling logistics. I would like to also thank Rudra and Aditi for collaboration. And very importantly, the scores. I would like to thank Akshat Goyal, Akshat Sharma, and Siddharth for the tabbing team. A big thanks to my joint coordinator, Pooja PN, and my deputy coordinators, Rudra, Aditi, Arunima, and Indrayani, who have ensured that this competition stays on success at any cost. I would also like to thank our seniors who have helped us out at every instance: Alok, Rishi, Anshul, Muskan, Arshia, Ananya, Ayushi, and Saich. Thank you, everyone. If I have forgotten anyone, please forgive me. Thank you for everything. This NUJS MC has not only exceeded mine, but all of our team's expectations, and we are really, really proud of it. Now we move on to the awards. Finally, the special awards shall be announced by the Deputy Coordinator, Arunima Srivastav. Arunima, off to you.
We begin with the mediator. Begin with the...
Good evening, everyone. I'll be announcing the special awards for our competition. I'll be starting with the, just please give me a minute. I'll be starting with the best team, which was decided based on the highest negotiation score and the highest mediation score. The best team will be getting three internship slots from Lutra and Lutra. The best team for the best team for the special awards is NUS 2. Their code was N5. The participants were Yedam, Emily, and Hazel. I'll be moving on to the best opening statement by the mediator. The best opening statement awardee will be getting an internship from Bombay Chambers. The best opening statement award goes to Swansea 2. Their code was M9, and the participant was Fatima Nair. The best, now I'll be moving on to the award of best teamwork. The internship, they'll be getting a guidance counseling session from Shardul Amarchand Magaldas, and there are 2 slots for the same. The best teamwork award goes to GLC. Their code was N17. The participants were Jonah Nagpal and Vibhor Jain. Moving on to the best efforts towards relationship building award, which will be going to a negotiating pair. They will be getting a scholarship from CAMP, an ASCL certification course and an ASCL certification course in negotiation. This award goes to Bocconi University from Italy. Their code was N13. The participants were Michela
Guiricic, and Pauline Cesari. Moving on to the Best Caucus Award, which will be going to a mediator. They will be getting a guidance counseling session from Shardul Amachand Mangaldas. This award goes to RGNUL. Their code was M31 and the participant was Utkarsh Goyal. The last award in this category is Best Interaction with the Mediator, and it will be going to a negotiating pair. They will be getting a team slot from Tank, and this will be given to 2 members. This award goes to UNSW, and their code was N11. The participants were Sienna Huban and Portia Ferdinand. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the special award winners. Now I will request Aditi Chaudhary, Deputy Coordinator, to please announce the Mediation Award.
Hello, everybody. First of all, before I move on to the awards, I would just like to thank all the participants for being so cooperative throughout this entire experience, because considering that this event was online, there were certain roadblocks that we had to face, but your coordination and your cooperation with us has made this competition what it has been, both for the participants and for the organizing committee. So without further ado, I'd like to start announcing the awards for mediators. The first award that we have in this category is for the best mediator, which has been calculated by the highest score in the preliminary round. This award comprises of an internship at the International Arbitration and Mediation Center with a sparring and counseling session hosted by the Vega Negotiation Institute. And the title goes to a team from the National University of Singapore with the code M5 to Hazel. Also, if it's not too much of trouble, can we please have some cameras on and some muted claps for the winners? Because everybody has put in a lot of work into this event, so they deserve some kind of for the same. The second runners-up in this field get an internship at Bombay Chambers, complemented by a scholarship at by the Center of Advanced Mediation Practice in the ASCL certification course in mediation. This award has been given to National Law University of Bhopal with the code M30 to Kashish Oram. The runners-up in this category receive a Bombay Chambers internship as well as a 40-hour mediation skill course scholarship by EMA. And this award goes to Singapore Management University Team 1 with the code M2. Please correct me if my pronunciation of your name is wrong, but it's Prakhun Vichar Sararaksh. I'm so sorry. And finally, the winner as the best mediator in this competition, who will be qualifying to the negotiation challenge for this year, will also receive an internship at Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, as well as the GAADR scholarship from Peacekeeping and Conflict Resolution Team Pact. The winner is from the National Law University of Odisha with the team code of M15, Devansh Sehgal.
Hi, can I take a moment to simply...
You can unmute yourself.
First of all, I mean, it's a surprise for me as well. My co-mediator, the round was really close, but thank you. It's a pleasant surprise. And it wouldn't be fair on my part if I don't thank the organizing committee for organizing such a competition and all the assessors who have been very helpful and giving me valuable feedback throughout the competition. And of course, finally, this all is dedicated to my institute, National Law University, Odisha, and everyone who has been supporting me throughout. Thank you, all the participants also who were there in my round. Thank you. This means a lot. Thank you.
Also, I feel the need to bring to the attention of everybody here that the difference between the scores of the winner and the runners-up was just 1 mark. So both of them are basically winners in this competition.
Yeah, I would like to take a moment here, and I made this new friend. He is the same guy that you mentioned. His name is Vico, and AKA Harvey. I'm so glad that he was there as my co-mediator, and I think it's a matter of only 1 mark. So I mean, he should be the same recognition. Thank you so much.
Big congratulations to all the winners, to Devansh and to Sakranch and to everyone Now we move on to the last award segment for the 4th NUJS Mediation Competition 2022. Let's begin. The first award we have is the best negotiating pair. It's the highest score in the preliminary round. And that team will get internships from IAMC, that is the International Arbitration and Mediation Center in Hyderabad, India. They'll also get 2 Wager Negotiation Institute's sparring and counseling sessions. And the team is National University of Singapore, code N4, Phoebe, and I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Charis. Are you here right now? All right. I think we'll move ahead then. Now we move on to the second runners-up of the negotiation side. The second runners-up of the negotiation side will get, firstly, a slot for the transatlantic negotiation competition. 2, scholarship for CAMP's ASCL certification course in negotiation. And the team which has won this is Singapore Management University Team 2, code N3, Rele To Hasun, Hui, and Isabel Lim. Are you here? All right, we move ahead then. Now we come to the runners-up of the negotiation segment. The runners-up will receive 2 internships from Bombay Chambers. They'll also get a slot for the transatlantic negotiation competition, and they'll get EMA's 40-hour skill course scholarship from CAMP. The runners-up for the negotiation segment of the 4th NUJS are National Law University Jodhpur N22, Pooja Rawat and Anushka, which makes the winners Symbiosis Law School Pune, consisting of Vikrant Sharma and Ananya Agarwal, who will be getting 2 slots for the negotiation challenge, which will be held in Netherlands for the next edition, 2 internships from Shardul Amachand Mangaldas, and a packed Garter scholarship. If any of the winners wants to unmute themselves and say anything, now the time.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the OC for organizing such a smooth competition. I'd like to thank all the competitors who helped us grow. I'd like to thank the judges who gave us such valuable feedback every round so that we could grow with every round. I would like to thank my team, obviously Vikrant. I would like to thank my strategist, my coach, Vasundhara, and my mediator, Kim Shah, who helped me out so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
I echo what my partner Ananya just said. It would not have been possible without her, as well as without the support of our coach Vasundhara, of Kim, who was mediator from Symbiosis Law School Pune, as well as the organizing committee, who did a great job, the judges who provided great feedback, which will be probably the biggest takeaway I have, as well as the competition we faced. I hope that we made a lot of good friends. I learned a lot from everyone who I worked with during this competition. It was a lovely experience throughout. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Vikrant and Ananya. Congratulations, Pooja and Anushka. And congratulations to everyone, to all the winners. All participants are winners at the end of the day because you take away with yourselves this enormous experience. And I hope all these colleges come back next year and this competition becomes bigger and better than ever. This is Lakshya Batra, your chief coordinator, signing off for this edition. Thank you. The 4th NUJS MC 2022 is officially closed.